What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am here with NPL Season 5 Week 11 against the Austin Tauros, formerly coached by Robin Vart, but Carnie Hobo has taken over for his team as an assistant coach. So, let's talk about where we are right now in terms of the standings. So, going into this game, it is Week 11. I've only played 9 games so far, and that's because I actually have a makeup game against the Austin Tauros that I need to complete here relatively soon, and that actually comes into play here in this game as well, just to keep that in mind. But going into this game, I am actually 4-5. Now, I haven't had a losing record this late in the season before in the NPL. I straight out have not. And, you know, that's partially due to hacks. It's also due to me not playing as well as I'm capable of. For example, last week in my loss against the New York Metangs, I should not have paralyzed the Regigigas. That was a stupid play on my part, and ultimately it did cost me. Granted, hacks is what cost me the game, but a misplay is what let hacks cost me the game. So, you know, that's somewhat my fault, also somewhat not, but we're moving on from that, because now we are in a position where we have to win our last 3 games. We have to, no exceptions, if we're going to make the playoffs. If I lose any of these games, my only way to make the playoffs is to make the wild card position by differential, and that would require a top tier boy in another division to lose both of his last 2 games, which is very unlikely. Well, I shouldn't say it's very unlikely. He's against 2 of the best teams in the league in Togavor and Gypsy King, but he's a very good player as well, so I definitely can't count on that. So with that said, my game plan is to win the rest of my games, and that means I have to avoid the hacks bug, but also means I have to avoid the choke bug. It means I have to play perfectly, essentially. I have to play a perfect game, I have to prep perfectly, and we just have to win this thing. So, you know, that's kind of the plan here with these next few weeks, and essentially my schedule looks like I have 2 games against the Austin Tauros and 1 against the Brisbane Brightlims. I have to win all 3, and the good news is that I'm currently in 2nd place in my division, and the team above me is the Brisbane Brightlims, and they are only 1 game above me, and my differential is essentially better than theirs. Currently, they have like 1 more differential point than I do, but if I beat them, then my differential is automatically higher. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that at the moment. So, you know, I have a good chance at making playoffs, but I have to win, and that means that, you know, if I have to win from here on out, it basically means my playoffs start now. So that's how we're going to approach this game and every game moving forward this season. So this is the playoffs, and here we go. So we are against the Austin Tauros. They have Mega Scizor, Latios, Nidoqueen, Tangrowth, Florges, Arcanine, Hitmontop, Galvantula, Seismitoad, Braviary, and Torrent Greninja. So that's a very scary team for sure. Their synergy is what really stands out in this game. They have an incredibly good synergy on this team, and that's been its biggest strength essentially throughout this season. That said, it has not had the best record. I believe it's only had 3 wins, but also that said, there has been, I think, 3 different coaches in charge of this team throughout the season, just due to several schedule conflicts and etc. Throughout the season, and you know, it's kind of been a wishy-washy team, and that doesn't make it any less threatening though, because quite honestly, Mega Scizor and frickin' Braviary are enormous threats to my team, as you know, I don't have much. I can pack fire coverage on a lot of things for Mega Scizor, but if he has Sticky Web up, then Mega Scizor straight shits on me. And I apologize for the language, but you know, it's straight up accurate, as Mega Scizor just destroys me if he has Sticky Web up. So that's something I have to keep in mind when I'm building. And Braviary just in general kind of destroys me, because he can run like a Scarf set, and if I run an offensive team, then he can blow through that with Braviary. And if I run like a more balanced set, he can run like a bulk up Braviary, and that could also be pretty annoying. So those 2 mons in general are just hugely annoying, especially when supported by Sticky Web. You know, especially considering its ability to run Defiance and deter my Defogs. So, you know, that's a thing, though Defog isn't really as viable against me as Starmie is my primary hazard remover. Also, that said, Starmie, a Rapid Spinner, is grounded, so it gets a speed reduction from Sticky Web, so I have to definitely plan for that accordingly as well. But, you know, he has a lot of threats on his team, but that doesn't mean I can't deal with it either. I think the matchup is kind of awkward, honestly, in that I have a lot of threats to his team, and he has a lot of threats to mine, so it's just a matter of preparing adequately for what I think he will bring, and kind of narrowing his team down to the mons that I think are most likely to come, and then preparing most heavily for those. For example, Tangrowth seems incredibly unlikely when I do have a Mega Venusaur, which I've brought almost every single week. Same applies for Hitmontop, as Mega Venusaur hard walls both of those Pokemon. It just makes them pretty unlikely to come. Really anything else, though, is fair game against me, I would say. But with that said, biggest threats to his team on mine, I think Lucario is a big threat. I think Darmanitan's an enormous threat. A variety of sets from Darmanitan are really good against him. I think Mega Venusaur is great defensively against him, his only responses really being Latios and the Braviary. But, you know, I think I'm in pretty good shape in terms of matchup this week, just based upon the fact that I'm very comfortable with my team. I like my team a lot better now than I have in the past, as relatively recently, I guess I hadn't discussed this yet, I actually picked up Swellow in replacement for Piloswine, as Swellow has a really nice matchup against the Austin Tauros. It also is just nice in general to have that fast Guts user on my team, as well as another non-grounded attacker in this matchup, especially with Sticky Web being a thing. So, yeah, I think Swellow definitely is a nice matchup for sure, and Piloswine is only really useful against Aberforth's Raikou, and I'll find ways to deal with that anyways, so not a huge deal there. And the other swap I made was actually a trade with the Los Angeles Nidokings and trading Haxorus, or trading my Salamence away for Haxorus, as I wasn't really feeling Salamence on my team. Its typing was good, but Salamence in general just wasn't fulfilling the offensive role that I wanted it to fulfill when I drafted it, so I decided to go ahead and trade that for Haxorus, which will fulfill an offensive role on my team whenever need be, whenever a duty calls. So, you know, that's basically my thought process in terms of my threats against his. I'm not actually going to go into detail, I'm not even going to show my team builder itself, because, you know, like I said, I have to play this man twice in pretty short succession, so I don't want to give away any more sets than what I was forced to give away in the actual battles. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop on over to that, and as you can see, he decided to bring the Arcanine, Mega Scizor, Latios, Galvantula, Seismitoad, and Florges, while I brought the Darmanitan, Swellow, Aerodactyl, Starmie, Mega Venusaur, and Sylveon. So I brought a balanced team. Darmanitan's a pretty cool set. It's actually a bulk up set. Bulk up with Flare Blitz and Rock Slide for coverage. And that does a number to his team for sure, as, you know, he has the Seismitoad, but I do have a status to be able to hit that if need be, so that's pretty cool, as well as the fact that I have several things that can switch in against Seismitoad. My Starmie is actually, I'll get there when I get there. So next up is the Swellow. That is just a Gut Sweeper, pretty standard, and then I have an Aerodactyl as a Stealth Rocker, and then I have Starmie, which is actually a White Herb set, so this is going to allow me to switch in whenever he has Sticky Web up and essentially guarantee a Rapid Spin, and because he did bring Galvantula, I anticipate that it's going to be a Sticky Web set, just because Sticky Web really is pretty good against my team, at least theoretically it is, so having White Herb definitely allows me to Rapid Spin very cleanly against him, as I think he's going to play recklessly with Galvantula, potentially let it go down or take a lot of damage in order to get the Sticky Web off, so I think that'll put me in a pretty good position to be able to pull that off there. So, you know, Starmie's pretty good overall. It also has nice coverage for his team, including Grass Knot for the Seismitoad. I actually don't have any coverage for the Florges this time. Which was a decision I made because I really do have a lot of things that take advantage of Florges, namely the Swellow, Darmanitan, and Mega Venusaur as well can deal with it. So coverage for Florges, as in like Psyshock or whatnot, wasn't really necessary in my opinion. But yeah, that's the Starmie, and then Mega Venusaur, pretty standard. It is Sludge Bomb, HP Fire, so that essentially hits everything he brought, as you can see. I don't actually have Giga Drain, but what's a Seismitoad doing to Venusaur anyway? So I do have Leech Seed, just to get residual damage on the Latios. It helps my Sylveon beat Latios a lot easier if I have Leech Seed on it, and if he did decide to bring Bulk Up Braviary, it would have been really nice to hit him up with a Leech Seed on the Bulk Up turn or something like that, just in case. You never know when that residual damage is going to come in clutch. And then I have a standard Cleric, which supports Sylveon here with max defense to deal with the Latios. So that is the team. In terms of the lead matchup, though, I am definitely going to lead with Mega Venusaur because I don't want him to get off free Sticky Web, and Mega Venusaur is what best pressures all of his potential leads. If he does decide to lead Latios, there's a chance it could be Specs. That would kind of suck, but Sylveon does actually beat Specs Latios 1v1 as long as he does not either crit me with Psyshock or fire off a trick on turn 1, but I don't think he would make that aggressive of a play. You know, he might actually. I shouldn't say that, but I think I still would go straight into Sylveon even if he has Trick, because if he is a Choice Specs Latios and tricked my Sylveon, then I'm firing off Specs Hyper Voices, and if you look at his team, he really doesn't have much that wants to take that very nicely. So Venusaur is pretty easily the lead here, and let's just go ahead and hop right on into this. So let's see what we can do here. So he does actually lead with his Galvantula, as I do lead with my Mega Venusaur. So our Groot is here, and we are going to stand firm and just go straight for the Sludge Bomb as it hits his entire team bar Scizor. If he wants to go into Scizor, there's a decent chance I'll still outspeed it, and I can go straight for the HP Fire on the following turn. Now here, expecting him to go into Latios, I'm going to go for the Leech Seed. It's pretty nice because now it puts Galvantula in Stealth Rock range, so that's pretty convenient for me for sure. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Leech Seed again, expecting him to switch probably into his Latios now, or just Full Switch or whatnot, but he does go into Latios. This is a free switch into Sylveon. If he is Specs, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. He turns out to actually be Calm Mind, but because I do have the Leech Seed up, I'm actually not fearing this at all, because after a Calm Mind, Hyper Voice plus Leech Seed is still doing over 50% to the Latios, so that's pretty nice. And here he's actually revealed to be the Roselli Berry, so pretty cool prep on his part for sure, but that's still not going to beat Sylveon 1v1. Now here I'm going to pause briefly, as I did have two options. I could have tried to go for a Wish with Sylveon here and, keep my Sylveon around later in the game, but if you look at what he brought, he did not bring the Greninja, so Sylveon really didn't need to stick around, essentially. As long as I got rid of the Latios, I was in pretty good shape, and I knew that if he decided to switch out Latios here instead of going for the second Side Shock, then I would still be above 50% on my Sylveon, so I'd still be able to eat up any one hit from Latios later on, and that means that I don't really need to recover here necessarily. I wouldn't be able to counter Latios from that health, but I was pretty sure he would either try to stay in or maybe switch into his Arcanine or Scizor. In any case, I felt like damage was the best possible option for me here, and if he went into Florges, then I could just heal myself up, which is pretty cool on that. So continuing, I do just go for the Hyper Voice, and I do take out the Latios. So fortunately, we don't get critical hit there, and my Sylveon's down at 23%, so it's not particularly useful here, but here I am now forced to go straight into my Mega Venusaur, just in case he goes for the Sora's Dance, as I don't want him to be able to get off any free sweeping against me, because if he gets +4, I straight up lose this game, so I cannot let that happen, as I'm going to go hard to my Venusaur. Now here, just to kind of scout what he wants to do, I am going to go for the HP Fire, I believe, which actually takes out the Galvantula on the incoming switch. So now, because the Sticky Web user is gone, it's now a priority to get my Starmie in against either the Florges or the Seismitoad to be able to spin away these Sticky Webs as soon as possible. Now here he makes an interesting play and goes into the Mega Scizor against my goes back into Mega Scizor against my weakened Mega Venusaur, trying to take me out with a U-turn, but Mega Venusaur is not having that. We're going to survive that and get off a nice Synthesis, and I guess he was trying to bait out another Hidden Power Fire or something, but after he revealed U-turn, I'm definitely going to go for Synthesis on that turn. So I don't really know if I agree with that play necessarily, as it did just let me get healthy again, but I guess I could have killed up on pretty much anything on his team at this point, so maybe just letting Latios go in general wasn't too smart. But here the White Herb comes in clutch against just his team in general, as I'm able to more or less ignore the Sticky Web, get off the nice Rapid Spin, get rid of the Sticky Webs are gone, so now I'm not going to have to deal with those annoying speed decreases, meaning that my Mega Venusaur potentially outspeeds the Mega Scizor, and more importantly, meaning that my Darmanitan outspeeds the Mega Scizor, and now Darmanitan is looking like a really nice win condition. If I can just get this Seismitoad weakened a little bit further, put him in range of +1 Flare Blitz, then I can win this game almost 100% with the Darmanitan, but I cannot necessarily do that unless rocks are off the field, because the combination of any attack, I guess, or even just recoil from Florges, plus Extreme Speed plus from Arcanine, plus, or even just any attack that's not like Flare Blitz from Arcanine, plus Bullet Punch from Scizor could actually take out my Darmanitan, so I need to make sure I get rocks off the field before I go for game. But my plan is to win with Darmanitan at this point, so I do just go for the Leech Seed on the incoming Arcanine. Or just on the Arcanine as he goes for Will-O-Wisp. There we go for the HP Fire, just in case he wanted to try to double into his Scizor for whatever reason. Maybe if he was a speedy Scizor, he would be able to outspeed me anyway, so that was just my thought process there. As now I'm going to go for the Leech Seed, as it's still my most safe play. I don't really need to make any super risky predictions and going for, like a Sludge Bomb on that turn. That really doesn't gain me too much necessarily, as all I really need to do is get my rocks up to put this Arcanine in range of being 1v1 by my Darmanitan set. So that's pretty cool here, as he's just making a lot of double switches back and forth. I guess just trying to stall me out of Synthesis, maybe just trying to stall me out of burn damage, or not stall me out of burn damage, weaken me with burn damage. I'm not really sure, but here he tries to make the the risk, I guess, maybe expecting me to try to predict a switch into Arcanine, but I have no reason to make that play. I'm just going to attack what's in front of me when I'm in the lead. That's kind of how you play Pokemon. So I am just going to go ahead and synthesis up on this Seismitoad, and here I could go for the Leech Seed just to get more damage on this. I could also pull a switch into something else, but my play is still to go for Leech Seed because I kind of wanted to go into Starmie. I felt like he would expect that play, so going for the Leech Seed is a little bit safer, as I don't want to risk my Starmie and not be able to get rid of the Stealth Rock. So I will go into Starmie at a safer time, which happens to be, I believe, right now. Yes, here. I did actually expect him to try to go into Scizor on that turn, but going into Arcanine is just as well, because I know he's probably not going to be offensively invested enough to be able to take me out with an E-Speed there. So this is a free Rapid Spin. I could have gone for Scald. It wouldn't have taken him out anyway, so there's really no point, as Rapid Spin is far more important in my in-game goal of winning with Darmanitan. So here I'm going to go straight into my Aerodactyl. He did not bring the Braviary, so this was not really needed in this game, so I'm just going to go straight into it, not really fearing the Will-O-Wisp, as all I really want is my Stealth Rocks. As now Stealth Rocks are up, Arcanine will be guaranteed 1v1 by the Darmanitan, and now I'm going to go ahead and sack off my Sylveon to the Florges. He could be a Calm Mind variant. If he was, I still had Swallow in the back, which could just blow this back with a Guts boosted anything, and even if it doesn't kill, then I can still kill with Darmanitan, which is fine. So I am going to go for, I actually get crit taken out by the Florges Moonblast. I'm not sure if that mattered. I didn't have much, if any, special defense investment, so I don't think it mattered, but I might be wrong, I don't know. But anyways, I'll pause here briefly. Not really a hugely difficult play, but what I do is I go into my Darmanitan after the Florges takes out my Sylveon, and I just go straight for the bulk up. Whoops, I messed up the dimensions. As I just go for the bulk up as he switches his Florges out into the obvious Arcanine. I go for the bulk up as he goes for a Wish, and then just in case he wanted to try to pass that Wish to the Seismitoad, I go for the Flare Blitz, as I'm guaranteed to take out Seismitoad from the range it's at +1. So that was easily my play. And now here he goes for the E-Speed. I don't know. I guess he really didn't have a great play there, because my play was 100% to go for the bulk up, and Seismitoad being in range of Flare Blitz, he really didn't have much for Darm at this point, honestly, as Darmanitan is going to actually be able to clean up this game with a combination of Rock Slide and Flare Blitz, as he has nothing. He has nothing left to be able to deal with this, as there you go for Flare Blitz, again, just in case he decides to try to go into his Seismitoad. I really didn't matter at all. I didn't want to miss Rock Slide, essentially, because if I missed the Rock Slide and then he got a critical hit with his Mega Scizor's Bullet Punch, then I might lose my Darmanitan, potentially. I was just playing out all my outs there, essentially, and making sure I came away with the victory, because let me tell you, these past 6 of my 7 games have been kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I've lost 6 of my last 7 games in League format, and I don't think I should have rightfully lost over half of those, if not all 6. So it happens. It's Pokemon, not the most fair game in the world. It's not competitive, but we do manage to end the skid today. And that means we're back on the right track, and we're not going to fall off the right track. We are going to continue winning our games this season and make it to the playoffs like we should. So that is the game plan. Good game to Carnie. He knows he probably could have played a little better. I'm not going to argue with that. But he gets another chance whenever we have our rematch here shortly. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do apologize for not going into an insane amount of detail on my sets, as I just don't want to reveal too much until after I play them the second time. Then I'll go into as much detail as I need to. But that's the game. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all next time. I believe my next upload, I don't know, my next upload might actually be the makeup game with this guy. I'm not really sure which game I'll do first, honestly, but it'll either be the Brisbane Breloom or my rematch against the Austin Tauros. We'll see on that, but thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.